It's all hands on deck for love. I'm Anna Rumor with Pop Culture.
And I'm Nick Valdez from comicbook.com.
And this is Docked, where we offer our unfiltered opinions on CBS's The Real Love Boat, because love is apparently blindfolded. Today we're gonna go in on the 4th episode of The Real Love Boat, and things are getting hot and heavy, they're getting steamy, and we've got 2 new bombshells entering the ship, and I was afraid they were gonna get forced to walk the plank with all the drama that they brought in.
Yeah, what a messy episode. I was completely all in. This is what we've been waiting for, right? Now it's getting aggressive. It's getting, everyone's fighting for their spots. I think that's the trick, is 2 new people at a time. This new person at a time isn't cutting it. It really isn't. No.
Yeah, the 2 forces some kind of change. I feel like with 1, it's easy to just be like, well, we're not gonna bring the new person in. But with 2, it feels more justifiable.
Absolutely. And it's so funny too, because it's a very smelly week, apparently.
a very stinky week. First, we think we're just going into the challenge, which is going to be something with blindfolds. So everyone gets blindfolded, and then Jerry and Rebecca reveal that 2 new women are joining the group, which means there are going to be 7 women. That means there are going to be 2 women leaving at the end of the week, and everyone's blindfolded when they first get introduced, so they don't really know them.
I'm loving these challenges so far.
Yes.
Like, at least this one isn't so super physical and athletic, but everyone is very sweaty.
Yes, oh my gosh. Okay, so basically the challenge is them having to like rub up on each other and like determine who, what was the exact term? Body chemistry? Who their best body chemistry is with? What is body chemistry? I've never heard that before in my life.
I don't know. It sounds stinky.
I think, they were like, really smell them. I was like, I don't know if I want to.
Absolutely not.
And we have these 2 new women who are part of it now, and we get to see them. The first one, her name is Mila. She's like a yacht broker, which I guess, of course, there are brokers for yachts, but that is so out of my tax bracket. I never considered it. And then we've got Sarah who enters, and she is a very adventurous travel agent. Which again is something that I didn't really know, but there were a ton of anymore, so good for her.
I mean, good for the both of them. They came in swinging. They knew what kind of show this was.
Yeah, so they are, they've never met these guys before either, but they are amongst the women who are, rubbing up and touching and sniffing and all sorts of things like that. And then at the end of sniffing and touching all of these guys, they have to tell Rebecca who they have the most body chemistry with. And I guess the way you win is like the most people have body chemistry with you, which is like kind of a funny way to win a contest.
Yeah, especially because they have to whisper it to her too, so that they like keep that part secret.
Exactly.
It's chef kiss. I'm loving these challenges. More, please. More.
Oh, 1,000%. Well, okay. We have to talk about, most people didn't really do too much during it. Sarah jumped right in. She was like, hi, I'm new and I'm really going for it. She was all about the challenge. And then Emily was surprisingly also very into the challenge. She was like rubbing up on Dean's abs for a prolonged period of time. So much that Rebecca and Jerry were like, should we stop her? Should we move on? It was so funny. I loved it.
Because they're on a boat that's crowded with all sorts of other people. You see how everyone else reacts to the competitions too, and they cut to the woman taking photos, and like it's such like just. I love it so much, especially like when Elisa was like approaching Nathan and she was like, oh, I can immediately smell that it was Nathan already. And I was like, what is that supposed to mean?
I know. I was like, either he has a very distinctive cologne or he just reeks, and I don't know which one it is. Although Nicole said her only comment was pretty much like, everyone is really sweaty, so maybe it's the latter.
It's a very sweaty show, as we've pointed out before. So the fact that they keep doing these very touchy-feely challenges, very sweaty challenges. I think they're steering into it, clearly.
Yeah, right, honestly. Well, and at the end of the competition, we find out that the person who has the most body chemistry with everyone is Marty. Way to go, Marty.
Way to go, Marty! It really is his episode. Weren't we we were just talking about how they just disappeared into the background, right? Like,
yes.
This is how you win, Marty. I love you.
I know, I love him too. He's so sweet, and he was like so bashful about it, and he was talking about how it was kind of weird to have everyone like rubbing up on him, which agreed, kind of weird.
Yeah.
So for him to be the winner, I was like, this is true justice.
Absolutely, especially when I was so worried that he was getting like the go home edit, right? Because in the beginning of the episode, he was like crying with Emily, and I'm like, oh, I love you, Marty, but crying's probably a bad move in these shows. But no, like, he's getting rewarded for his sincerity, and for that, he ultimately wins, and we get to see them spending more time together. Like, finally, this is more Marty and Emily is what I'm all about. I really am.
Let's just jump to their captain's table conversation real quick, because they're so wholesome that it's like not much to talk about. But they go to the captain's table, and Emily's like, I have something I really want to tell Marty. And it's the fact that she is a virgin and she's waiting until she is like really in love with someone before she changes that. And right off the bat, I thought he already knew that. So I was like, why are we telling him again? Until I realized, like, apparently he didn't know that. And I have been just projecting that I know that onto him.
I also assumed they both knew that much about each other, at the very least. Marty has been open about the fact that he hasn't had a lot of these relationships. He's been single for a while. And that's why Emily seemed to be drawn to him, is that they were both on that same wavelength. But apparently not. But I'm glad that now it's finally out in the open. Marty was totally fine with it.
Yeah.
Bless Marty once again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We love Marty. Although I have to say, his face, whenever she was saying it, I'm sure it was just like a listening face. But I was like, wait, Marty, are you going to be upset? Because it was kind of like a stern face, and I was nervous for a second, but I should have never doubted you, Marty. You were clearly just active listening.
Yeah, we didn't get the little music sting that like, uh-oh, something's wrong here.
Yeah, it was all just like love music in the background. We should have never doubted them. They're perfect for one another. Back with everyone else, everything is, imploding like a dying star.
Kendra this week, right? Where is this Kendra been? She knows Jordan very into playing the field. He was immediately drawn to Mila, and Kendra was like, this ain't happening. This is definitely not happening. Not to my Jordan, not to my man. And thank you, Kendra. Thank you.
Yes. Honestly, the moment that the blindfolds came off, Jordan like made eyes with Mila and was like, awooga. So she definitely has reason to be jealous. Like, it's not like it was, she was being out of pocket with it, but she was barking up the right tree there.
Mila was really shaking it up more so than I would have expected. Because Nathan was immediately into Mila, which was funny because I love Nathan, and he's been very open about the fact that he's not even feeling Elisa anymore. He openly says that, like, Mila is attractive just like he is. I forget the word he uses, but he's like, she's very beautiful, like me, or something.
Yes. And he was saying, like, oh, yeah, like, I don't like touching whenever Elisa went to give him a hug. And he was like, I don't do touching. And I was like, I don't think that's true, Nathan.
No, oh my God. Like, especially after they had that touching challenge, right?
Right.
And for Nathan to be like, I don't like being touched, just because she wanted to hug him, it was very like, I do not feel you in this way. I'm shutting you off completely. It was a very like 20-year-old thing to do. Yeah. I
was very like pre-shoving off Elisa at this point. I was like, there's no way. He is so not into her, and now there's another option, and she's a yacht broker. Like, come on, I would probably go for her too. Like, she's amazing. She's got this fabulous life. And Nathan hates you, Elisa, or it seems like it.
Sarah, who she and Dean have an immediate connection with one another. Yes. They both have the quote-unquote goofy side to them, right?
They are like the people who just I think they say to each other, they're like, hey man, you only live once. And they're like, wow, that's so true. And it's like, wow, you guys are perfect for each other. I love it.
He calls her dude.
He does.
And for, and for anyone who knows the bro mentality, dude is a very big compliment.
Yes.
Like, that is the thing. That means he's very comfortable with her. Compared to the way he was talking to Nicole earlier in the episode, and where she was just kind of tuning him out.
She honestly, and respect for Nicole, she didn't really even act like she cared whenever he was just totally ignoring her and talking to Sarah the entire time. She was just kind of like, well, I'm not into him either, so what are we going to do about it? She had accepted her fate, I think.
In conversations with the others, she was like, oh, well, I'm glad, like, Dean likes me, but maybe not in that way, or something like that. And it was very like, oh, sweetie, you know already.
There's no other, she already tried to play the, like, I'm staying game the other week, and it worked, but, you can only get lucky so many times.
Dean and Sarah actually do get one of the dates, because the crew is being very messy. And so they send them on, like, a magic date, and it's... Not only is it funny because Dean is so in love with the magic.
I think this is his first time ever seeing magic. He was entranced. He was like, oh, no way. How'd you find that card in there?
Yeah, and Sarah being as very aggressive as she is, knowing what kind of game she needs to play, she's laying it on a lot. But with Dean, it works because they seem to be feeling each other already. And clearly they do, right? They ends with a smooch, so...
It does. Sorry, Nicole, but
I know,
it looked like a passionate smooch. Meanwhile, on the other side, we've got Jordan and Mila out for their date because, again, the crew is so messy, and it's a painting date. And I don't know why, but... Like, the way they were painting with each other was really skeeving me out. I don't know why.
Yeah, it was a little, right? Like, this is the same episode where they were touching each other's sweaty bodies, and that was the moment where I was like, oh,
It was a little too, like, intimate or something. I don't know.
This is too spicy for prime time. Mila was feeling Jordan, like, she really was, that's where you get the whole Kendra thing, and Mila was fighting back, but clearly, we'll talk about that in a second, that wasn't good enough.
Well, and Jordan was like, I'm like torn between being a player in my past, or like in his present, and going with Mila, or with staying with Kendra, who is being so jealous, and I thought that was going to kind of be her downfall.
I thought so too, and... hey, maybe she was right. We'll we'll get into that. And of course, the other day is Daniel and Shaylin, who still love each other, and I'm feeling it. Like, of course, we got to keep an eye on them though, because something might stick up. Something might happen.
I know.
We'll see.
I'm nervous. Next week's previews kind of had me thinking that maybe something will happen, but also I believe in the couple, so I'm putting my full faith in them.
Leading into the sail away ceremony, this is where we got some of the biggest mess, right? This is where it all came together, because Nathan was sitting here talking about, like, oh, if I choose, do I need to choose Elisa in order to keep in the game? Like, I'm glad he finally put it out there, right? Because this is what you and I have been talking about. Like, this is it.
Honestly, we're like, okay, you have to give us a reason why you have picked her when you clearly don't like her, but there it is. Thank you for saying it. Break that fourth wall.
He was also feeling Mila just on attractiveness alone.
Yeah.
And, but it's weird because they didn't really talk outside of maybe one time that we see in the episode. Right. So it would have been a very shallow choice. So
you're right. I bet that definitely. Well, because he goes off for like a boat deck ponder. I bet he was thinking about that out there, because I was like, it seems pretty simple to me. You don't like the one person. The other person's hot and you don't really know them that well. I mean, I would go with the person that I know I don't actively dislike, Leading into the sail away ceremony itself, Nathan outright says, an hour ago, I almost made a different decision. Oh, what was it? Marty leans into Emily and is like, no one knows what he's gonna do. And she's like, really? It's so good. But also there was drama on the girl side too, because Nicole finds out that Sarah and Dean kissed. She looks kind of ticked, but like not really. I think she already knew that was happening. But Kendra and Mila have a little exchange where Kendra says that she's got like Jordan on a leash and he's like a little puppy dog, which I was like, okay, let's dial that back. That's a little awkward to say. And then Mila was like, you shouldn't say that about him, you know? Like, let him have his freedom and he'll find who he's into. And he does. But it doesn't go the way she thinks it's gonna go.
Yes, which is a shame because I was also liking Mila. Like, she seemed to have that energy that could really shake things up. And unfortunately, the men weren't feeling it, as we'll get into. But I was also very surprised that Kendra's aggression is ultimately what keeps her around. I'm
shocked. I would be like, that's too much. Like, you gotta go home. Let's take on this yacht broker. Remember, she's got yachts, multiple yachts.
She's brokering yachts. I'm sure she has her own real love boat somewhere.
That's the real love boat.
Marty picks Emily, of course. Daniel picks Shaylin, of course.
Duh.
Like, it's another duh. But then we get into the messy stuff, right?
Yes.
Like, so Dean picks Sarah, which is, of course, after, what we see of their date and their connection, of course, he's no longer feeling Nicole. As much as I'm sad for Nicole, Dean was pretty honest about his decision. He was like, she's hot, I'm going to pursue her, we have this connection, etc., and let's see where that goes, right? And then Jordan picks Kendra, that's the surprise.
Yeah.
I thought he would have felt that whole my man energy and kind of been, I kind of would have been scared off by it. Like, this is a little too soon for that kind of energy, but maybe that's the game.
I was thinking that he's either someone who's into that kind of possessiveness, because there are people out there who are like that, or he is really actively trying to shed that player rep. Maybe he thinks that if he switched from Kendra to Mila, making his second switch of the show so far, we're on episode 4, people would be like, he says he's not a player, but he clearly is,
That's very true. So, I guess it's going to keep him around for a week, maybe with Kendra. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, she seems very into him, so I guess a good decision for him.
Now, the biggest shock of the episode that we've been dancing around this whole time, and Nathan picks Elisa. What is going on?
What is happening? Do these two have like a blood pact? Were they on like the poop deck at midnight, like cutting open their hands and becoming like blood brothers for this show or something? They don't like each other, but they keep picking each other. What are they doing? Why?
That is a strategy. I will tell you that much. Like that, Marty and Emily will definitely get to the end, but maybe two real people who hate each other will also make it to the finals. Is this the way to do it? Is this Survivor? Is this the alliance?
The alliance that no one wanted.
I'm loving Nathan. Keep making these wild decisions, Nathan.
Yes, honestly, keeps it going, keeps it interesting.
Well, speaking of interesting, the preview for next week, we're teasing some cash is being involved. Where, two new men are coming in. One is coming in between Daniel and Shaylin. So here come the shakeups, right? This is the time in the series where things are about to start making waves.
Yes, I am so excited. I mean, the more drama, the more I like the show, and this show is definitely delivering on the drama front. Yeah,
and if not, we'll get these very awkward moments of, I don't like being touched, or...
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to be in Naples next week, so that'll be fun.
That will be fun. I can't wait.
Yeah, although I was going to say, we didn't see as much of Rome as I wanted to.
I guess the only ones who really get to see Rome are the ones who shove off Nicole and Mila,
They're the real lucky ones. They're going to go off and they're going to have themselves a really nice day with some wine and some pasta. So they're the true winners.
Yeah, Mila's probably got a boat over there. I'm sure she'll be fine.
Yeah, she's already docked at the port. Well, I can't wait to see what's going to happen next week. And you guys at home watching, you can join us. We're here every week. We're recapping the real Love Boat here on Docked.